All right, reefbuilders.com here at MACA San Diego, and with my friend Nuri in the Piscine Energetics booth.
With my friend Jake Adams from Reef Builders in my booth. Welcome.
So you've built an empire off of harvesting Mysis out of an Arctic Canadian lake, and I thought you had that nailed down, you know, packaging frozen Mysis shrimp in every which way. But I walked up to the booth today, and you saw the moment my jaw actually just kind of dropped a little bit because I saw Mysis pellets.
Did we shock Jake Adams?
Just a little bit, but it wasn't what I saw, but what you told me afterwards that really made me come back and had to get you on camera to talk about your product, a little bit of the journey, and what it's all about.
Sure.
All right, so you got this Mysis pellet. When did this journey start?
Okay, so Piscine Energetics, we've been in business for over a decade, almost 15 years. And about 5 years ago, we thought that we have a lot of PE Mysis fans who are very busy in the morning. We have a lot of fans of Piscine Energetics who don't necessarily have time to go to the freezer, grab the frozen pack of shrimp, thaw it out, and throw it in their aquarium.
It takes a moment to do that little ritual.
Exactly, And so we thought, it would be great to bring a dry line that would have, the primary ingredient being our sustainably sourced Piscine Energetics Mysis shrimp.
Very cool.
So about 5 years ago, we undertook this investigation to, come up with a methodology that we could really use our Mysis shrimp in a fresh format and incorporate it into a highly nutritious and highly palatable food.
Very cool.
So about
I've heard mumblings of Piscine Energetics pelleted food, and I just wasn't prepared when I walked up to the booth. But you had quite a journey, bringing that idea to market.
Yeah. So about 5 years ago, Piscine Energetics as a company, we were a little ignorant on how pellets are actually manufactured, and so we went through really an internal learning curve on how we're going to develop a pellet with such a high amount of fresh ingredient. So like one of the stories I'll tell you how this journey first began was probably 5 years ago. Being based in British Columbia, there's a number of large pellet producers up there. There's a lot of aquaculture that occurs.
Right.
And we spoke with some laboratories there and said, can you help us formulate a pellet using our PE Mysis?
Using fresh PE
PE Mysis into the diet.
And what happened when you brought them a sample?
So what happened was I was speaking to this one lab manager and I said, I'm going to send you some Mysis shrimp. He says, great, we'll experiment it with a bit. So he sent him down a sample box of frozen product. He receives it, he calls me up, he's like, this is the funniest looking shrimp meal I've ever seen. We can't bring this into our facility.
Right.
Our facility is set up to deal with dry meals.
Not yours, theirs, this guy.
Their facility. Okay. Most or all.
So we're talking about all kinds of mass-produced pelleted food for the aquarium market, for aquaculture, cold extruded. But you, along the way, you discovered some things about the process of creating this food. Tell me about that.
So everyone who makes pellets for the most part are using dry product. Right. So they're taking dry fish meal, squid meal, herring meal, whatever it is, right? And they're getting that product that's dried, and then they're mixing it together with other ingredients, and then they're typically extruding that. Now, over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of talk about low temp extrusion, which is beneficial.
Cold extruded pellets has kind of been a buzzword in the last handful of years, and I've been a fan of those products myself.
Absolutely, and one of the reasons they use that is when they have their protein meals, and then they're mixing them in with the vitamins and the mineral packs. By having it low temp, they're not denaturing those vitamins and the minerals as much, but they're still, even the low temp extruding that at 240 degrees or so.
240? That's considered cold?
Yeah, some extruders will go up to 375, pushing up to 400. So back to this is all new to me, and I learned this and discovered this several years ago. We were trying to develop how would we incorporate this wet Mysis as the leading ingredient without having to dry it first. So we're a Canadian company, based in British Columbia, Canada. We have a great federal government that supports, businesses that are involved primarily with export. So we got the assistance with the National Research Council of Canada, and they have an industrial research assistance program that really, assembled a team of, top shelf advisors for us and, really experts in the field. And we undertook this series of investigations on how we're going to take a fresh Mysis shrimp as a leading ingredient and formulate a pellet that's going to be palatable, highly nutritious for aquarium foods, and at the same time isn't going to disintegrate, isn't going to cloud the water, isn't going to crumble apart, and isn't going to be too hard that the fish is not going to want to eat it.
Right.
Through this, we really developed some methodology, and we actually decided to take all the production in-house.
Right. And so now you're making your own pellets.
Yeah.
And you used a really good analogy earlier about microbrew.
Right.
So you're saying that a typical pellet food manufacturer is just churning through a huge volume of ingredients and cranking out food by the truckloads.
Right.
But your assembly line or your production line moves a lot slower.
Exactly. So a typical product that's being extruded, it's put through, dry ingredients are mixed together, puts into the extruder, sometimes they'll go through a dryer as well, into a bag. Start to finish, it can be, 20, 30 minutes, that process. Our analogy, we like to say we're the craft brewery of the aquarium pellets.
Right.
Our batch system, it can take us, 12 to 18 hours to complete a batch.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, we have not exposed our Mysis shrimp to temperatures above 90 degrees, 95 degrees.
That's impressive.
So we haven't, compromised the integrity of the Mysis shrimp.
Very cool. So the resulting product is the PE pellets, right?
That's right.
And you have a freshwater and saltwater formula.
That's right.
And you have 3 sizes, 1, 2, and 3 millimeters.
Correct.
Very cool. And so this is what it looks like. If you looking at it, you can see that it's not like other pellets. And I actually tasted some earlier, and it didn't disintegrate in my mouth, and it didn't have a rank taste, and it just, I don't know, it's just really a lot more pleasant. And one of the other tests you have here is some pellets that you put in here in this water early this morning, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we put it in right when we got in here.
1 o'clock now, so 5
hours later.
There's no disintegration, there's no color, leaching from it, and all this on paper seems like it would create a really, really good food. What has the response been from some of your users?
Yeah, it's been, one of the things that we are fortunate to have, on our frozen line, we supply, a number of zoological institutions and public aquariums.
You already have the channels, you already have the customers,
right.
They're used to using PE Mysis. So what's their verdict?
Yeah. So, although we just put this in this nice, shiny consumer packaging, we've had users using our pellets for 2-3 years now. And unsolicited feedback that we received, and it'd be funny, I'd check my email in the morning, it's like, Nuri, you're not gonna believe this, these Antheus ate your pellet. Nuri, I have a 14-inch French Angel, which I've never been able to have him eat any dry food before, and he took the 3 mil pellet.
Very cool.
So we are just ecstatic to finally launch this product.
One thing I'm really interested to know is, I'm already a hardcore PE Mysis user, as so many of us are. I want to know how many packets of frozen shrimp this is equivalent to. Do you have a ballpark estimate off the top of your head, like how much frozen Mysis this?
It's approximately 40%. Mysis.
40% Mysis.
Correct.
All right, very cool. So these pellets aren't that expensive, right? It starts like $10 for the small packages.
Right, yeah, the retail price point would be about $10 for the 2 ounce, about $18 for the 4 ounce, and about $30 to $35 for the 8 ounce package.
And when are these going to be available?
They are going to be available within the next few weeks.
Okay.
But definitely we'll be rolling it out. Every store across the country should have it by the end of the year.
Very, very cool. This is probably one of the more exciting foods, probably the most exciting new food here at MACNA in San Diego. I got a sample, so everybody keep it locked on rebuilders.com. We're definitely going to give this thing some testing, give our feedback. And man, PE Mysis is so iconic. It's really, really cool to see you put out another product. And wish you all the best with it.
Thank you very much, Jake.
Thanks a lot, Nuri.
Appreciate it.
All right.